for you as a mom, as an advocate for breastfeeding, did you manage to, you know, 6 months and then complementary to 2 years?
Wow, I must say I didn't make it. First, I didn't have a formal job. I had a temporary job, which is where you show up when the facility needs a doctor.
I didn't get the memo that breastfeeding is a skill that needs to be, you know, learned. So the baby came, I was tired, I came off an emergency C-section, I just plopped the baby onto the boob because I thought that's how it's done. And then before I know it, we're dealing with cracked nipples for a while, so.
What are some of the supplements you're taking right now?
Right now, I'm taking folic acid, folic acid, but I know I should be taking iron as well. That is the national guideline. At least we should have folic acid and iron. But also, it would be good for me to add calcium because, especially as women, our bones get a bit depleted, and I would advise that, and a lot of sunshine for vitamin D. Yeah.
Perfect. Phy, when you were pregnant, what was some of? She got good advice, and plus, you know, being a pediatrician, she has a bit of this knowledge. But for you, who's not, you know, like a pediatrician or a gynae, what were some of the supplements and what was some of the nutritional advice?
I'd say the same thing, folic acid and iron. However, just as a, I think I'm really cognizant to the fact that there's not so much knowledge unless it comes from the medical fraternity. Because, you know, when you do your baby showers and everything, the moms are like, mlalishe isa, mfanyishe, but the discussions around the supplements are very scarce, you know? Nutrition are very scarce. So I can't say I had a myriad of information except from the doctor I was seeing, you know? So in terms of, I think, in terms of how to maybe best get this info out there, because moms will discuss everything, but what are we eating? Or it'll just be one-liners like, we kula mboga juu ya damu, you know?
Which is
true. Exactly, which is fine. But now there's not so much. I'm learning the reasoning now, hearing from you. Oh, we need this because ABCD. I'm actually learning about calcium. I didn't know about this, and the sunshine. I didn't know about this. So yeah.
And that's why we're here, because I felt like this is a topic that is so important because this is the future generation we're talking about. And nutrition is something that is very neglected. And when we talk about things like iron, and we talk about why is it that we have to breastfeed or give your child only breast milk only up to at least minimum 6 months before you start introducing other foods, it's because as all your nutrition you take, as the foods that contain iron, your supplements, like iron is very important because it's a very big building block in your blood and compromises of hemoglobin. Your hemoglobin, which is your red blood cells, is mainly iron. So that's why it's so important. And as your breast milk, as time goes on, your breast milk changes. So your levels of iron start going down, and then at 6 months we need to supplement. Folic acid is another amazing thing that is so important, because if we don't have enough folic acid, it prevents what we call defects, especially spinal defects, something called spina bifida that is very common if you don't have folic acid, folic in your system. And then what is it about iron, and what are the foods that are really rich in iron that you were advised into taking, or was it just take a pill?
Or just take a pill. Okay. The reason we are asked to supplement is because sometimes we can't eat it in our diet, maybe because of preferences we get in pregnancy, etc. But if you can eat, there are vegan options and there are meat. There's meat and the rest. We would advise, iron is mostly in the meat. We say the heme, heme is for, like he said, the blood. So the HB. If you've been asked by a doctor, I'm sure you have. What's your HB? That's what we mean. So the redder the meat, the better the meat. So that is beef. That is okay. I'm only thinking of beef. What else? Veal. Yes, the organ meats. Yes, so kidney, liver, and all that. And we can eat that, of course, as pregnant women. But even when we get our kids, the same food sources are the ones that we're going to try and give them. For plant options, so animal as well, the egg yolk has a lot of iron. In vegetable options, there's skumawiki, but mostly let me emphasize spinach. We say skumawiki, but it's actually spinach. Senior. And today, because I try and read up before everything, I realized that there's some spices that actually do have iron, like cumin.
No way.
And turmeric.
Wow.
Excellent sources. That's pretty cool. And legumes, which we thankfully have it in our diet. So that's the dengu, beans and such.
Wow. Okay, so Phy, I was actually going to ask you, like, did you know about this whole iron things and the supplements? But you kind of shared that we need to acknowledge the fact that we do have a bit of a gap when it comes to relaying issues about nutrition and how maternal nutrition is so important. And you see, the reason why iron is so important and why you need your baby to go for regular checkups, and at least at 1 year they must have what we call a full hemogram, because we want to check your heme levels, your iron levels, because if you don't have enough, then your baby can get low hemoglobin, which is called anemia. And that just basically means damu yangu iko chini, like I don't have enough blood, and then that's not good for the baby because they start to compensate and it can lead to other very, very bad complications. Did you manage to get iron, or did you just focus on a balanced diet and supplements for you?
I did. Of course, diet was very key for me. Thankfully, we live in Africa, guys. So, I mean, these things are available, and something like spinach affordable for most. I did take the supplements as well. But as I say, I don't think the reason, as you say, there's need to have that information out there. We do take these things, we just don't know why. You know, like we are taking it, we are aware we need to take them. But I think also knowing the reason as to why gives you motivation to even be intentional. Because then I know if I'm going to shop as a pregnant woman, these are the foods I'm prioritizing. And it gives you much more reason to kind of put yourself in a place where you're taking care of yourself with knowledge. And then also, it's also the fact that some people cannot maybe afford, because I don't know how affordable are these supplements for, say, watu wa mashinani. You know, do people get folic acid easily?
Yes,
or it is?
They do.
Okay.
The good thing, Ministry of Health through the antenatal clinic and the maternity child health clinics, actually you get supplements that are free of charge.
Oh, wow.
So the government has catered for that, just knowing, especially things like folic and iron, those are things that have to be there, because what studies have shown is that if you don't get enough folic, you get all these babies with deformed spines because of a simple thing like folic. And another thing that the government also has done, and they try to do through the food board, is they try to fortify different foods with all these what you call micronutrients. So iron is micronutrients, and that's why sometimes it's called the hidden hunger, because these are very small things and they're in very small concentrations but play such a big role. So things like oil might have, you know, supplemented, things like margarine have, you know, fortified
nutrients,
iron, and so your different foods. So when you're complementing, when you start at 6 months and you know your milk levels don't have enough iron, a mom should know, okay, now we're 6 months, we're complementing, we need to make sure that my baby also has, you know, enough vitamin D, enough sunlight, enough iron, you know, in the diet, so just to make sure that we're building very strong and healthy blood in essence for our babies, for them to thrive, because so much happens. Our blood is our transport system, you know. And I think this has been such a powerful conversation, and I really wanted to go on. It's just that we don't have enough time, but in essence what we're saying is breastfeeding is the utmost important thing that you can give your child. If it is a gift, you don't have to give money. What you can give your baby is breast milk, because of all those important things that we've discussed today. And thank you so much, guys, for for blessing me today with your knowledge. I've learned so much about, you know, the challenges that you guys had to go through. I've also heard the positive things that you managing, you know, to exclusively breastfeed for 6 months. And it's amazing. And now we've talked about iron, and I really hope that this gets across, the message gets across to people. Hopefully this is now bridging the gap, that, you know, educational gap that we have, because we have this knowledge, so much knowledge, and yet, you know, we're not able to disseminate it properly.
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful way to wrap it up. Like, before, we know they are oops babies, and that we can't avoid. Okay, clearly a lot of us are oops babies. Yeah. So if you are planning, you're married, or you're not, but you're just planning to get pregnant, it's important to find out about nutrition and find out really what is this thing called pregnancy all about. Because honestly speaking, a lot of us here, we're just winging it, and we're just here to help, give you information. So while you're winging it, at least you're doing it the right way. Thank you guys so much for blessing me. Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it. I can't wait for the bundle of joy. You know, and Phy, thank you so much for you, and congrats. I know your baby's turning 1 soon. You know, look at how far you've come. I'm sure you had your moments where you're like, am I really going to manage to do it? Congratulations.
Thank you.
And that's it. This is Ask Dr. Reign. Today we're talking about breastfeeding, breast milk, and you know, you heard it all here from 2 lovely moms who have shared their experience on breastfeeding, and I hope this really helps you guys. If you're planning to get pregnant, you need to listen and watch this and ask all those questions to your obstetrician gynecologist and also your pediatricians or your doctors that you see. So remember, keep it Ask Dr. Reign. Remember to subscribe, you know, in the link below. Make sure you follow us on your socials, and we welcome all the people who are willing to work with us, because creating this video ain't cheap. Take care, have fun, make love, not war. Make babies, feed them iron. It is what it is. From the Hip Hop Doctor, we out.